Life is too short to be reading books that you don't care about. I have a really good feeling about this one. Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. In today's video I'm gonna do a bookish spring reset. With the start of spring, I've been really looking forward to try to reset everything in my life, declutter, reorganize, just everything. And obviously as a reader, that means that I also need to do a bookish reset. I've been really itching to redecorate my shelves, and I finally think I'm gonna unhaul a good amount of books. There's a few that I'm just realizing that I don't really want to read them, and the only reason I would read them would be kind of out of guilt and feeling like I have to. And I don't want to waste my time on books that are not exciting me. And I also know that at this point, because my book taste has been evolving, those books would be kind of mediocre for me. So I don't see a point in keeping them on my shelves. I would much rather just selling those books on Vinted and using that money to buy the books that I actually want to read. So I'm finally going to be unhauling, which is going to be fun. And then I also need to get up to date with my reading journal. I still haven't done my March spread, and I also need to do my April spread and my spring TBR spread, which also brings me to the next point of this video, which is to talk about my spring TBR. I've been so excited to finally change my shelves, so that's the first thing we're gonna be doing. I'm gonna start by taking off every single book that I want to unhaul so that I can see better what space I have. But I spent a lot of time thinking how I wanted to redecorate them, and I think I want to keep the light to dark from top to bottom gradient. I think that's what looks better in my room. But my problem with my shelves right now is the fact that they're way too cluttered. There are way too many trinkets and just little things that I think are really cute, and I love them all, and I want to one day have them in my own home. But my room is really small, and this bookshelf has been looking just way too busy. And since it takes up so much space in my room, I want it to be a little bit more organized. I just want it to look less cluttered. I also think I'm gonna go back to having a rainbow romance shelf on the top, because I feel like that just makes the colors look better. I hate how this looks. I feel like it's too messy. And then on these two, we'll see what I put there. I don't really know how many romance books I'm gonna have after my unhaul, but we'll see how that goes. I'm also debating if I want to take every single book off and just start fresh, or if I want to go like shelf by shelf. Should I take them all off? It's like way more satisfying to take everything off, but I kind of don't want to. Okay, I think I'm gonna do just row by row kind of, because it's just gonna be way too overwhelming to take every single book out and put it back on. So I'm gonna start with the romance, and then we'll figure it out as we go. But let's start with taking off every single book that I'm unhauling. When I finish redecorating the shelves, I'll go through every single book that I'm unhauling with you and why. But right now, I just want to get to the fun part. Okay, so now I'm gonna do the rainbow shelf on top. think this looks great so far. I really love the rainbow shelf. It looks so much better. It looks so much more cohesive, and the amount of pink makes me really happy. I also left this spooky shelf. I really love how it looks. I love this cat that I got. It's so cute. So we're keeping this shelf. I just reorganized it a little bit, and I really need to get more witchy books. But now I know that I actually have a free shelf. I don't know if I'm actually gonna switch these two. I think what I'm gonna do right now is I'm gonna put my literary fiction books here, and I'm gonna see how it looks, and I'm gonna decide based on that. I like how it looks except for these 4 books. Okay, I really like this one. I think it looks really cute. Now let's do this side. Let me bring you closer. Oh my god, I think I love it. This is kind of what I had in mind. I wanted to do like a female rage horror gothic vibe, and I wanted to keep like a fantasy gothic fairy whimsical situation going on this one, and I feel like that's kind of what it's giving. Like, I think it looks really cute, and I really like having the special editions right at the middle. So I think at this point I'm gonna take all of the other books off of the shelf. I only have 2 more. I have this one and the other one you can't really see, but I'm gonna take off every single book off of those shelves and I'll organize them. I also have some other books above my desk, so I think I'm gonna use those to fill the space that I'm gonna have, but I'm gonna have so much space left, and just looking at my shelves, I'm so excited. Oh my god, it looks so good. I'm actually obsessed with them. I didn't film me doing the last 2 because it was kind of a headache. The last one, I just really kind of hate the colors. I wish they were darker. I don't love the pop of color, but what can you do? I think they look really cute and I'm obsessed with them, and I can't wait to lay in my bed and read a book and look at them. Let's get into the unhaul. All of these books will be on my Vinted, so if you want any of them, just check the link in the description. The first book is Good Girl Complex. I read this a few years ago and I just don't care for it, and I don't need to have this on my shelf. Then I have this edition of The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I already have this one, so I don't need this. And the same goes for Shatter Me. I already have one edition because I bought the box set, so this one has to go. Then I have the first and the second book in the Lakefront Billionaire trilogy. I just do not care about these books. I read My December Darling last year and I genuinely hated it, and it just put me off reading anything by this author because I remember people saying that they enjoyed that one. So if they enjoyed that one and they also enjoyed this and I didn't, I think that just means that I'm not gonna enjoy it. I actually have the audiobook of this one and I tried listening to it and I immediately got so cringed out. I hated the narrator, and I just know that this is gonna be extremely mediocre for me, so I don't want to waste my time. And the same goes for the 3 books in the Knock 'Em Out series. I just feel like I'm not gonna love these, and they're so thick. I don't need to have these. Life is too short to be reading books that you don't care about. Then I have the first 2 books in the Crown of Nyaxia series. Got the US paperbacks on Vinted and I'm gonna sell these ones. Then I have the Front Runner. I actually already have this one, so I don't need this. Red, White, and Royal Blue. I read this a few years ago and I didn't really like it. I read it for Pride Month because I wanted something for Pride Month, but I did not enjoy this, so I don't need to have this. Then I have this edition of Dracula. Honestly, the only reason I want to unhaul this is because I hate the spine. I hate the orange. I think the cover is quite cute, but I hate seeing this on my shelf, so it has to go. I'm also unhauling The Hating Game. I also read this a few years ago and I just did not care for it, so I don't need to have it. Then I have Lolita. I tried to read this a few years ago and I just could not get into it, and I kind of hate this edition anyway. And I honestly don't even know if I want to read that. It was kind of boring and creepy, and I don't know if I need to actually read it, so I'm unhauling it. Then I have a Portuguese version of Maya Angelou's I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings. I think that's the original title. I'm only unhauling this one because I want the English version. I would much rather read books in their original language than reading them translated. Then I have All I Want for Christmas. I actually unhauled this book during December, but the person that bought it on Vinted didn't pick it up, so it came back to me and I was like, you know what, maybe that's a sign. I'm gonna read it. And I hated it. Then I have Spectacular. I also hated this one, and it looks awful on my shelves because it's not the same size as the other ones. As you can see, this pisses me off so bad, and I didn't even like it. So another duology that I really didn't like was The Bridge Kingdom. So I have the first book and then The Traitor Queen. I really hated these books and I thought I was gonna like them because I saw so many people hype them up, but it just wasn't for me. Then I have Holiday Ever After. I also read this during the Christmas time this last year and I just also did not like it, and I don't need to have books on my shelves that I didn't like. And then I'm also unhauling The Off Limits Rule and The Temporary Roomie. I just don't think I'm gonna enjoy these, and I would once again only read them just because I own them. I was also thinking for a long time that I was gonna unhaul the cheat sheet and the rule book, and also Better Than the Movies and Nothing Like the Movies. But I'm not ready yet. I'm kind of scared that I will want to see what those OG Book Talk books were about, and then I won't have them. So I'd rather just keep them for a while now, and if I don't feel like reading them in a few months, I'll just unhaul them. So all of these books will be on my Vinted. If you want any of them, go get them. Hi. So it's actually a few days later, and by a few days I mean almost 2 weeks later, because I've been watching a lot of Katie's reading lately and I'm obsessed with her journal, and I really wanted my spring spread to be something like hers. I really like her journal right now. I just really wanted my journal to look very fairy tale-esque, very whimsical. So I actually had to wait a little bit because I got these fairy stickers and I was waiting for them to come in the mail. I also have a bunch of other stickers here. I have a lot of flowers. I have a bunch of things that I can use here. Another thing that I was waiting for, I got a bunch of washi tape. These are the ones that I'm gonna use today. So I have this Black Kingdom one, and then I have this, I don't even know, it's kind of like flowers, and I think it will match really well with this background paper situation, but it's kind of like flowery and it has a lot of colors, but it's also very muted and very pastel. So I feel like it's gonna look really cute. So now that I have everything together, I'm ready to start my spring spread. I'm not going to be doing my monthly spreads because I don't want to. I don't feel the motivation for that. I've been really avoiding them for a while now, and I need to stop doing that because I'm very behind on my reading journal. But right now, the only thing I care about is making this really cute spring spread. Also, for this year's reading journal, I decided to make these, what do you call this? Tabs, kind of, for every single season. So it's gonna look really cute when it's all filled out. The first one obviously was winter, and now I'm gonna do spring, and I'm so excited to eventually have all of these filled out. But yeah, now we're gonna focus on my spring TBR. I'm not gonna be talking while I do this. I'm just gonna turn the camera down so that you can see me doing it, so that then we can actually talk about the books that I'm putting on here and finally wrap up this video. am absolutely obsessed with my spring TBR spread. This looks exactly how I wanted it to, and I didn't know if I was going to be able to pull this off, but I feel like it looks really cute. I added a lot of dots and bubbles and stars, which I think is what made this look way more put together and actually look cohesive in a way. Now it's time to actually talk about the 9 books that I put on my spring TBR. I'm gonna go in the order that I put them in. So the first book is Tender as a Flash. I've been wanting to read this book for years now, and obviously it's not really a spring book. I really want to read it soon. I want to read it in the next couple of months. So that means that I'm going to be reading it during springtime. And I thought, why not just put it on my spring TBR just so that it gives me a little bit more of a motivation to actually get to it. I say that as if I'm someone who actually finishes their TBRs, and I'm literally not. But I have a really good feeling about this one. I say this every month, every season, but for this one specifically, I really do have a good feeling. I really think I'm going to be able to finish all of these. I might be talking too soon, but we'll see. But anyway, I feel like I'm always seeing someone else reading this book for the first time and loving it, and the topic seems really interesting. They start farming humans. They basically start eating human meat. I don't know, but I'm very excited about this one. Everyone says that this is very graphic, but I kind of like that in books. I like when it gives me like strong emotions and strong feelings, and I feel like this one is gonna do that. And it also obviously is gonna have a lot of political and social commentary that I love when books have. So this is a 5-star prediction, and I'm very excited to get to this. The next one is The Vegetarian. This is about a woman who becomes vegetarian and her husband doesn't like that. And it says in the back that this is a disturbing and thrilling psychological drama about taboo, desire, rebellion, and fantasy. My friend actually just read this recently and they loved it and gave it 5 stars, and that gives me so much FOMO. I hate when a friend reads a book that I own and they love it and I haven't read it yet and it's sitting on my shelves. It gives me a crazy amount of FOMO, so I'm gonna get to this one soon because I want to know what it is about and I want to talk with them about it. So another 5-star prediction in this TBR. The next one is We Could Be Rats. I have been obsessed with this cover ever since I saw it for the first time, and this book has been on my mind a lot lately. I've been thinking about reading this for like 2 months now. Why do I keep putting off books that I think I'm gonna love? This is another 5-star prediction, so very excited. This one is about 2 sisters, and one of them has been attempting to of herself, and you start off the book with all of the letters to her sister, and I think eventually you get a little bit more plot and a little bit more into the other sister's perspective. And once again in the back it says that this is a novel about 2 very different sisters that's a love letter to childhood, grown up, and the power of imagination. It just seems like this is going to be very emotional, very nostalgic, very raw, and I feel like I'm really gonna enjoy that. I think this is gonna be the next book that I'm gonna pick up, so very excited. I forgot to say, but I kind of did like 3 books from general fiction slash lit fic, horror, women's fiction. It's a little bit more vague with these 3, but with the other 6 books, I have 3 that are romance. The other one is an arc. That's why I don't have it here. And then I did 3 fantasies. So the next books that I'm going to talk about are all romance. So the next book I want to talk about is Dolly All the Time, which is Annabelle Monaghan's new release that's coming towards the end of May, I think. And I'm beyond excited about the fact that I got the arc on NetGalley. Getting an arc from one of my favorite authors, like the feeling I got when I saw that email, I was so excited. So I get to read that earlier, which is really cool. Okay, so now that I actually went on Goodreads and saw what this book is about, I can tell you that this book is about a single mother who moves back to her hometown, I think, and that's where her family lives, and her family is going through some money problems, and then she meets a very rich man who needs to pretend to have a girlfriend. He just wants to look better for his colleague, so they're gonna pretend to date and he's gonna pay her, which is gonna help her with her family situation. The next book I want to read is Lost and Lassoed. This is the 3rd book in the Rebel Blue Wrench series, and this is a single dad nanny trope. So basically she's best friends with his sister. They've known each other for years. They kind of hate each other for some reason. I don't really remember why. But obviously there's a lot of tension between them. They have liked each other for years. I really like this series. I really like reading cowboy romance during the springtime. Ready or not, I obviously have been saving this book for springtime because the cover, it's just very spring. I think this is literally like spring in New York, which is another thing that I'm really excited about. I feel like that's gonna be really cute. But this is a surprise pregnancy situation. She has a one-night stand with a random guy, and then she finds out that she's pregnant, but she doesn't actually start developing a relationship with the father. She starts falling in love with her best friend's brother. I think he just sees that she's going through a lot and he starts helping her with her pregnancy. But I'm very excited about this one because I read Promise Me Sunshine last year, and it is one of my favorite romance books that I've ever read, and I know everyone loves this one, so I'm very excited to finally get to read it because I've been putting this off for like 2 years for no reason. And after I read this one, I really want to read No Matter What, but I have to read this first because I've had this for so long. And finally, let's get to my whimsical fantasy books. I'm the most excited about these ones. The first one I actually want to read during June for Pride Month because this is a sapphic Regency romantasy. I feel like it gives the same vibes as Bridgerton in a way. I'm just excited to read more queer books. So when I found this book with this stunning cover, by the way, I was really drawn to it. I don't know much more than that, but that's in it for me. And the next book is the second book in the Emily Wilde series, Emily Wilde's Map of the Otherlands. I actually don't even know what happens in this book. I have no idea what the premise is. If you want to know what this series is about and what the first book is about, basically fairies are like a normal thing and known thing in this universe, and Emily Wilde is basically a scientist of fairies, and she goes to this fairyland that's never really been studied, and then one of her male colleagues appears out of the blue as a surprise, and they start studying that fairyland together. There's definitely a subplot of romance in these books, but it's very tiny. It's obviously very whimsical, very spring-like. The descriptions of nature are really cute, and just the fairy element is so cute and whimsical. So I feel like it's literally the perfect book for springtime. And finally, the last book on my spring TBR is The Little Shop of Grand Curiosities. I'm gonna be so honest right now. I have no idea what this book is about. I saw the cover, I saw a really cute girl on TikTok talking about it, saying that she really loved it and it's perfect for springtime and it's very whimsical. She also showed, I don't know what this is called, I don't know if it's like chapter art, but I thought that was really cute. And immediately I was like, oh my god, this is so spring, this is so cute, this is so whimsical, this is perfect. So I actually have no idea what this book is about, but it seems like it's gonna be really cute based on the vibes that I'm getting from this. But all I know is that this girl runs a shop, and this shop is like the last little bit of magic that exists in this town, and then suddenly something happens, and all of a sudden she's meeting all of these creatures and getting into some dangerous situations. Can you tell I know nothing about this? So anyway, this is my spring TBR. Very excited. I really think I'm gonna be able to finish it, but who knows? If you want to see me read these books, be sure to subscribe. I really hope you guys enjoyed this video, and yeah, I hope I'll see you in my next video that is coming really soon. Bye!